I love your enthusiasm.
This guy.
Well, hi everyone.
Why is the music still playing?
It's a great day on First Things First as we prepare to just relax a little bit.
God, I hope they lose.
Act like gentlemen as we prepare for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. It's not Celtics in 6, and it's not a Celtics sweep. It's a gentleman's sweep. Stay with us. No hands.
Well, look, Luka was played really well, including defensively. You know, you saw him more effort on that end. He obviously wasn't engaging with the refs as much. So Luka was very good. Kyrie was very good. And some of the role players, Derek Lively played great, right? He had 10 rebounds in the first half.
Yeah.
The Mavericks or the Celtics as a total team had 13
And
at halftime.
Lively had 10 rebounds in the second half of Game 3.
Yeah.
So he had 20
right.
rebounds over a four-quarter stretch.
In a game, essentially, right. But that 13 to 10 rebounding advantage for the Mavericks in the first half, or for the Celtics in the first half, that Celtics over Lively. That brings me to the real answer to your question. Celtics complacency.
There we go.
I mean, look, I'm not saying the Mavericks could not have beaten them if the Celtics are fully engaged, right? But to lose by 38, down by 48, as you said, that obviously is complacency. And Lively's rebounding, I mean, at halftime, it was 29 rebounds for the Mavericks, 13 for the Celtics. Of course, and this has been an even series in the first 3 games.
Yep.
I think the Mavericks had like 5 more rebounds total than the Celtics. So it's virtually even. Rebounding, we know, is largely an effort stat. And so this just shows that human nature, we know that the Celtics like to play with their food anyway, right? They lost to Miami in Game 2, Cleveland in Game 2. And that was one reason I had questions about them winning the whole thing, was that sometimes they just are incredibly absent when they should be present. And this game, I thought, was just a primary example. So while I credit the Mavs for coming out, we saw this with the Lakers beating Denver down 3-0. We saw it with Minnesota coming out. Not this type of blowout, but beating Dallas down 3-0. And that's what we saw in this game. So credit the Mavs, but the Celtics just didn't show up.
The Celtics didn't show up. Jason Kidd had an interesting quote before the game. He said one of these teams is going to be given, someone in this game is going to be given the opportunity to let go of the rope, and we'll see if they do it. And he didn't say which team he was talking about.
Right.
He was basically saying it could happen to us, to where if we're down early, down 3-0, let go of the rope. And it could happen to Boston, ostensibly for these reasons. Up 3-0, down big early, why, why put in the full effort? But so Luka finished with 29 points, but that doesn't matter. What mattered was the 25 in the first half. And yes, he wasn't barking at the refs, but he also, this time when he was fouled, was getting the calls. Like Luka and the refs sometimes is a little circular, which is if he's not getting the calls, he barks more, it looks worse. If he is getting the calls, people are like, oh, Luke is on better behavior. And it's like, well, he just has less to be mad about. And so but he did clearly Game 3, it got away from him. And in this game, I think maybe it could have. I'm not ready to say,
I think it was definitely something he was trying to work
agree,
on.
but also if early in the game a couple egregious ones went against him, I wonder if he wouldn't have been able to kind of shout down that devil on his shoulder. But to me the biggest reason was the Mavs role players hit threes. Luka was outstanding, A-plus playoff offense Luka for the first half when it mattered, and they scored.
Yeah.
The Mavs, and this is why I got so frustrated with the commentary last week. And I know that everybody, when I pointed out that Luka leads the Mavs in defensive rating, and immediately said that stat stinks. But the point I was, on the season, top 2 in the league in defensive rating, Rudy Gobert, Victor Wembanyama. So in some regards, we think it's a legitimate stat. And I thought Luka's bad defensive moments were so flashing red light awful, it made it seem like that was the reason they were down 0-3, when I thought the reason they were down 0-3 was because For the first time in his entire career with Kyrie Irving, they didn't score 100 points in multiple games in a row. Like that, for the first time in his career as a pro, with or without Kyrie, they went 3 straight games without scoring 100. He was rolling. The role players got going. Yes, Boston didn't have as much of a sense of urgency, and that leads to this. That leads to that type of result. The question I posit is this. Is Boston still an all-time great team? And I think the answer might be, are they eligible if they win tonight, but ineligible if they lose tonight? In which case, if that's the case, then the answer is no, they're not. If whether or not you're an all-time great team comes, it's like, well, if they win the finals in 5 and gentlemen sweep, then we call game 3 or game 4 a blip. But if they lose tonight and win in 6, they're now disqualified from all-time legendary team status. Like, I just want to, does that sound about right?
Their differential moved just a little bit.
Yes.
In a 38-point loss, but not enough to knock them out of the top 5.
No.
So I think this was just a blip, and I assume they're going to win tonight, so we can put historical greatness back on the board.
So you're saying, I mean, we don't think they're an all-time great team anyway, but if they won in 6, you don't think all the people arguing this is an all-time great team? Because what would they be, 16-4 in the playoffs?
They'd be 16-4 in the playoffs, but we've seen that before. They would be 80-22 for the regular. Like a big thing going into Game 4 was, here are the 20 lost teams in NBA history. Yep. Simmons was big on that. You talked about it. And so that's the point I'm kind of making is that this series, we now have the teams essentially tied in point differential. We know that Game 2, I thought Boston controlled throughout, but there's the what if they call the foul on the fast break. Game 3, there is the what if Luka doesn't foul out. Boston should be up in this series, but it also feels closer than a series that was 3-0 to start with, if that makes sense.
What was that feeling like at 3-0?
What do you mean?
What was it feeling like?
No, Brew, I'm not going to...
It was a close sweep.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
What it was. It
wasn't even a sweep.
Nick, admit that it exists.
This guy is still...
I agree. It was a close... It wasn't like Boston's head and shoulders ahead of them.
It was like Celtics Nets, too.
It was close, yes. Absolutely. Lakers Nuggets.
Meanwhile, the Celtics' best player continues his mediocre run. Another
mediocre might be too strong.
Game in the teens. 15 points for Tatum before sitting for the entire fourth quarter. Here he is after the game. Hey, I mean, I'm waiting patiently. Game 1, 16. Game 2, 18. Game 3, 31. But 4 for 13 from 3. And then Friday, 15 points, 1 for 4 from 3. Are you surprised Tatum struggled again?
No. Listen, he's not a finals guy until proven otherwise. He's just not. This is 10 finals games in his career. How many of those games has he shot above 50%? 0. Only Rip Hamilton, as far as guys who ever made an all-star team, had a longer stretch start his career. Rip was 12 for 12. All 12 of his career finals games didn't break 50%, but also wasn't relied on to be the #1 offensive option. That was a defensive-minded team.
Ewing shot like 36%.
No, but what I'm saying is every individual game he hasn't been above 50%.
He hasn't had 50%.
Right. He hasn't been above 50% once. Jayson Tatum, the last 3 years, since he has been in club superstar and since he's been an all-NBA caliber guy, here's what he is. Regular season, that guy's awesome. First 3 rounds of the playoffs, almost as good as the regular season. The finals, he's been bad. We can now expand that worst field goal percentage in the finals to even more attempts, 175. That's who he's on the list with. And so I don't know what else to say. If you go through, I did it today, each game, it's like, was Tatum the best player on his own team in any game? No. Was he the second best player on his own team?
Is that in all 10?
No, I'm in this series. This series. Was he the second best player on his own team in any game? Probably Game 3.
Yeah.
But that's it. In Game 4, was he better than Sam Hauser? No.
Game 4, no one gets an award.
That's fine. Throw that one out. But Games 1 and 2.
I mean, you can't count. Yeah, you could say I would say he was the best in Game 4, which doesn't even matter.
Oh, okay, that's all right. That's fine. But there were three Mavericks ahead of him. But Game 1, Jalen, Kristaps, and Drew were better.
Yep.
Game 2, Drew and Jalen were better. And so, I mean, it just is what it is. In my opinion, he's almost at this point disqualified from Finals MVP.
Wow.
Because in order for him to have more good games than bad games, they have to lose. They have to keep losing.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
the thing is this.
That's where I'm at.
It's fair. He clearly battles with nerves. And to me, in the final. I mean, number one, he said he was nervous in Game 1. All right. I mean, you've been to the finals before. You've been to Eastern Conference Finals, 6 times. And you're saying you're nervous. And if you look at, I still contend he's playing a good floor game. He's leading the Celtics in rebounding, leading them in assists. And he's scoring, obviously, averaging 20 a game, but his shooting, that's what it is. And that can be a mental thing. That can be nerves. When you're missing little, I wouldn't say bunnies because they're contested, but when you're missing layups you usually make, that can be nerves. And so he's going to have to deal with this, you know, after they presumably win this finals. I mean, he'll be happy. He should be. Like I said last week, don't let anybody get you down if you're not finals MVP. But he's going to have to take a look in the mirror and say, why can't I shoot well in the finals? Now, as far as finals MVP, I don't think he's disqualified.
Oh, you don't think?
No, because nobody's lighting it up. Jaylen Brown had 10 points and 5 turnovers in Game 4. So I'm 5 or 6 turnovers. No, Drew Holiday is averaging 14 points and not even 4 assists. And his defense is what he's doing great. Opponents are shooting 58% against him when he's the primary defender. So it's like there's nobody on the Celtics having a phenomenal series. I would say at this moment it is Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
But if Tatum has a great game tonight, or if it goes 6 and he's good tonight and they lose, great in Game 6 and they win, he can definitely, he's averaging 28 and 6. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists.
I mean, I know he's averaging 20, but he's...
It don't matter, man.
But kind of it does.
It's not. Michael Jordan shot 41% in the final, and they won. So who cares?
I know he's averaging 20, but he's got 3 games under 19, and 131.
But that's 1 point under.
I know, 20. But still. All right, here's what you talk about.
Because Brown's averaging 20.8. That's my point. Is just.
I mean, that's fair. He took 4 threes, and I was just grinding the all 10, and I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? What? Set aside part of my day and rewatch
all 4 threes.
All 4 threes.
Oh wow!
So me and Josh,
in between your piano.
So here's the first one: 6 dribble, step back. Obviously a miss. Another one. This is going to be a 4 dribble 3, 4 contested pump. Obviously a miss. Next one is another 4 dribble, step back again, and this one gets blocked. These are all bad shots. Here's the one that he made. If we're going to switch tapes, Al Horford pick. Come around and make it.
It's not a step back.
So no. So it's just basic. I mean, that play
does he
works.
Not shoot? But here's the thing, Wildes. Does he not shoot step back threes like that in the regular season? Well, he does.
I know, but Brew, I could have blindly described those to you and say, like, which one do you think went in? If you're struggling, let's have more of the easy shots and less of the wow shots.
And can I say something else about the Finals MVP thing? Because Brew's point about the history of it. Isaiah didn't win his first one. Steph didn't win for the first 3.
Tatum ran through it all, too.
He ran through it. He said,
did he?
He was like, Kobe only won 2 of 5. Duncan
won 2 of 6.
Right, Duncan didn't win all of them.
Right.
Here is the distinguishing factor, however. Isaiah was not bad in those finals when Joe Dumars won. Kobe, his first finals wasn't great. The next 2 rings, he was very good. But Shaq was averaging over the course of that 35 and 15. It was when Steph didn't win it and Iguodala won it. Steph actually had better numbers in that series than he had in the regular season when he won MVP. And then the next 2 years, Kevin Durant was just shooting fireballs out of his eyes, so he won it. It wasn't because Steph was terrible. This is a different situation. And it is, I don't want to call it unprecedented because I'd have to go through all 76 finals, but a finals where somebody is clearly going into it the team's best player, plays really poorly, and they win anyway. Like, maybe there's one that comes to mind for people immediately. There isn't for me. I was thinking about it. Like, you mentioned Jordan. Was the 41% the one against Seattle? And Jordan was great in almost every final.
He averaged a ton of points, but I think he shot 41%.
Against Seattle, I think so. And that was because the last 3 games of that series, he struggled from the field. But they started out up 3-0, in part because he was great. And I understand Boston started up 3-0, but it's not because Tatum was great. So it's a very, very weird historical situation where Tatum, I think, has been B-level once this series. Game 3.
I can't say that. He scored 31.
That's
all y'all looking at is
that's
the
what I'm talking about.
field goal percentage.
No. But that's what I'm talking about.
I'm serious. That's all you're looking at.
That wasn't an A game, though. You were like,
it
man,
was a
Tatum.
B-plus game.
Okay, that's fine.
You know how hard it is to score 31 in a freaking game?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, of the 3 games, there was only one time I thought in the 4 games he played B-level or above. You want to call it a B, a B+, an A-, whatever. But games 1, game 2, and game 4. Game 4 was an F, you can say, across the board. Game 1 and 2 was a C-ish.
Yeah.
And so that is a weird spot for it to be like, but if he's great tonight, he's finals MVP.
No. What if Jalen struggles tonight? If he struggled in game 4.
Then Drew gets it.
Drew's averaging 14 points a game and giving up 58% shooting.
Well, the giving up 58% shooting
for the series?
When he's the primary defender.
Those numbers can be a little hinky.
Well, you brought up defensive rating. Guess who? Tatum and Brown are tied with defensive rating.
Yes.
Second among starters behind Al Horford.
Yeah, but
it's better than Drew. I'm just saying.
It ain't ass stocks. I'm not buying the defensive rating.
But he is leading them in rebounding and assists. You're going to sit here and act like he's playing terrible. And he's second in scoring by 0.8 of a point.
Drew.
I mean, and they're about to win.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think, were you surprised he played poorly in game 4?
I throw out game 4.
No,
how do you even measure game 4? They gave up the ghost.
But is that not a little bit on the best player?
It's on everybody.
Yes, but
Jaylen Brown is right there. Okay. It's 1A and 1B, and he was worse.
Okay. I mean,
it's not even a question. And Drew Holiday wasn't good either.
Yeah. No,
that was Drew's first bad game.
I thought it was first.
Y'all are tripping as far. And I'm not saying he's playing well. I get the criticism, but to act like he has no chance to be Finals MVP, 28 and 6, leading them in rebounding and assists, and maybe will lead them in scoring.
Yeah, go.
This guy will lead them perhaps in scoring, rebounding, and assists. Yeah. And all people are doing is sitting here ripping.
He's putting up almost an identical stat line to LeBron in 07, which is considered one of LeBron's second worst finals, and is something of where he played. It's just universally agreed upon he played poorly throughout, even though he was the best player on his team. Unlike this, it's a weird. I don't think we're being unfair to Tatum. What if they had won? If it would have been
LeBron would have got credit.
Yeah, but that's why it makes it so weird, because it's despite that they're winning.
Because they got a
becoming a Tatum guy.
No, I'm just saying. I think the notion that he's ridiculously bad is a bridge too far.
Well, speaking of
a bridge too far
of Tatum, Game 5 tonight. Celtics favored by almost 7. Tip-off is around 8:30, which is prime time to just settle back, pour yourself a spritzer, tickle the ivories a little bit. Now, this was not me, actually. All-time series results.
It sounds good.
After you lose Game 4 after going up 3-0. Well, wow, history's on my side. 46 teams have won 4-1.
Man.
Handful of teams won 4-2. Thank you, gentlemen. Met him at the...
Where'd you meet him? Where?
I almost did it, but no. A gentleman's get-together. Because otherwise...
The yacht club?
I was going to say the
What's the question?
I missed it. Are expecting the gentleman's
like
suite
the vibe.
The vibe is great.
It's
That's
nice.
a gentleman.
It is nice.
All right. No. So we know, and Hubs, sorry, I don't know if we can show it real quick, just the all-time scoring leaders when facing elimination. Luka still, despite only scoring 29 this past game, pardon me, he's still atop that list. We know Luka's going to be outstanding. And here, Wildes, what watch are you always on?
I'm on Hobble Watch all the time.
And there's another one.
Oh, okay, well, I was just thinking Hobble Watch, but that Fraud Watch.
Fraud Watch?
But that's neither here nor there for me. I am going to be on murmur watch. For TD Garden, if Jayson Tatum misses his first few shots.
Oh, that's a good take.
Because this is one of those spots where I know everyone's like, oh, Boston now gets to win it at home. It all sounds great if they win. But if Luka comes out rolling and Tatum misses a few shots, and just want to see if there's an unease in that crowd, because the way Tatum's played, I think that would impact him. So, no, I don't expect the Celtics to win tonight, Brew. You?
Look, there's a lot of reasons to go with the Celtics. And the momentum, even though they lost, the vibe, everything feels Celtics. Give me the Mavs.
Oh!
Give me the Mavs. Just call it a wishful thinking.
You know what a gentleman says?
What?
It's okay to disagree, just don't be disagreeable. So I politely disagree. Gentleman's sweep. We'll see you right here tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
Our show's got another hour and 7 minutes.
Maybe you got things to do.
What do you know?
Go to a museum or something.
Wildes was only worried about this segment.
It's wrong A block, isn't it? Is Clay unfollowing the Warriors a big deal? We're going to discuss back here on FS1 and Fox Sports Radio.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.